Las Vegas, Nevada, August 1972. Maria Santos was a 38-year-old housekeeper at the Las Vegas Hilton, cleaning Elvis Presley's suite after he'd checked out. She found a leather-bound Bible on the nightstand with a note tucked inside. What was written in that note, in Elvis's own handwriting, would give Maria strength through 20 years of struggle and inspire her to help hundreds of others. This is the story of a gift nobody witnessed, a message nobody knew about, and a life changed by 7 words: the woman nobody saw. Maria Santos came to America from the Philippines in 1968 with $47 in her pocket and a dream of giving her 3 children a better life. Her husband had died 2 years earlier, leaving her alone with a 12-year-old son, a 9-year-old daughter, and a 6-year-old daughter. In Manila, Maria had been a teacher. In Las Vegas, she cleaned hotel rooms. It wasn't what she'd hoped for, but it was honest work, and it paid enough to rent a small apartment and keep her children fed. Maria worked the day shift at the Las Vegas Hilton, one of the biggest, fanciest hotels on the Strip. Her supervisor, Mrs. Patterson, had made the rules clear on Maria's first day. You're invisible. Guests don't want to see you or talk to you. You clean fast, you clean perfect, and you disappear. Understand? Maria understood. For 4 years, she'd been invisible. She'd cleaned thousands of rooms, made thousands of beds, scrubbed thousands of toilets. She'd seen evidence of the wealthy lives people lived: designer clothes, expensive jewelry, champagne bottles, but she was never part of that world. She just cleaned up after it. Most guests never even looked at her. If she was in a room when they returned, they'd stand impatiently by the door until she finished and left. A few would complain if she wasn't fast enough. Almost none ever said thank you. Maria didn't complain. She needed this job. Her son was in high school now, hoping to go to college. Her daughters needed school supplies, winter coats, a chance at something better than poverty. Maria would clean 1,000 hotel rooms a day if that's what it took. But some days, most days, Maria felt small, invisible, like she didn't matter to anyone except her children. "Mama, are you okay?" her oldest daughter Rosa would ask when Maria came home exhausted. "I'm fine, mija," Maria would say. "Just tired." But it wasn't just physical tiredness. It was the exhaustion of feeling unseen, of working hard at something nobody noticed or appreciated, of being treated like you were part of the furniture instead of a human being. But on August 15th, 1972, something happened that would change everything. The suite on the 30th floor. Elvis Presley had been performing at the Las Vegas Hilton for 2 weeks, a sold-out residency that packed the showroom every night. He stayed in the penthouse suite on the 30th floor when he was in town. Maria had cleaned Elvis's suite several times during his stay. She'd always been nervous about it. This was Elvis Presley, the most famous entertainer in the world. What if she broke something? What if she wasn't fast enough? What if he complained about her work? But the few times Maria had been in the suite while Elvis was there, he'd been kind. Not just polite, genuinely kind. "Good morning," he'd say when he saw her. "How are you today?" Most guests didn't ask. They just waited for her to leave. "I'm fine, Mr. Presley. Thank you," Maria would say quietly, keeping her head down, trying to be invisible like Mrs. Patterson had taught her. But Elvis didn't seem to want her to be invisible. "You work hard," he'd said once, watching her carefully arrange fresh towels in the bathroom. "I appreciate that. Thank you." Maria had been so surprised she'd almost dropped the towels. A guest thanking her? That never happened. On August 15th, Elvis checked out of the suite. His residency was over, and he was heading back to Memphis. Maria was assigned to clean the suite after his departure. A big job, because the checkout cleaning was more thorough than the daily service. Maria entered the suite with her cleaning cart, ready to spend the next 2 hours making everything perfect for the next guest. But what she found on the nightstand would change the next 20 years of her life. The Bible. Maria started in the bedroom, as she always did. She stripped the bed, checked for any items left behind, dusted the furniture. On the nightstand beside the bed was a leather-bound Bible. It looked expensive, the kind of Bible you'd buy as a gift, with gilt edges and a ribbon bookmark. Maria knew the protocol. Any items left behind went to lost and found. Guests could claim them for up to 30 days. She picked up the Bible carefully, intending to take it to lost and found after she finished cleaning. But as she lifted it, a small piece of paper fell out. A note, folded once. Maria shouldn't have read it. It wasn't addressed to her. It was probably a personal note Elvis had written for himself, but something made her unfold that paper. Maybe curiosity, maybe loneliness, maybe God. The note was written in Elvis's handwriting. She recognized it from autographs she'd seen in magazines. It said, "To whoever finds this Bible, this book has gotten me through some of my darkest times. I hope it does the same for you. When you feel small, remember who made you. When you feel invisible, remember who sees you. When you feel worthless, remember what you're worth. You matter more than you know." Elvis Presley. Maria read the note 3 times, her hands shaking. Then she sat down on the edge of the bed she'd just stripped and started crying. Because those words, "when you feel small, remember who made you, spoke directly to exactly how Maria felt every single day. A message she needed. Maria sat on that bed for 10 minutes, crying and reading Elvis's note over and over. When you feel small, remember who made you. Maria felt small every day. Every time a guest ignored her or treated her like furniture, she felt small. Every time she came home too exhausted to help her children with homework, she felt small. Every time she looked at her bank account and saw how little she had despite working so hard, she felt small. When you feel invisible, remember who sees you. Maria felt invisible constantly. That was her job, to be invisible, to clean without being noticed, to disappear when guests wanted their space. When you feel worthless, remember what you're worth. Some days, Maria wondered if she was worth anything at all. She'd been a teacher in the Philippines, respected, valued, making a difference. Now she scrubbed toilets in a casino hotel and nobody even knew her name. But here was Elvis Presley, the king, the most famous man in the world, saying, "You matter more than you know." He'd left this Bible intentionally. This wasn't an accident. This was a gift for whoever would find it, a message for someone who needed it, someone like Maria. Maria didn't know if she could keep the Bible. It wasn't addressed to her specifically, but the note said, "To whoever finds this Bible," and she had found it. Was this meant for her? Maria folded the note carefully and placed it back inside the Bible. Then she finished cleaning the suite, working slowly, thinking about those words. By the time she was done cleaning, Maria had made a decision, the choice. Maria stood in that empty suite, holding the Bible, facing a choice. Protocol said she should take it to Lost and Found. Someone might claim it. Elvis might even realize he'd left it and send someone to retrieve it. But the note said, "To whoever finds this Bible." It didn't say, "To whoever finds this Bible, please return it." It said this book was meant to help someone through dark times, someone who felt small and invisible and worthless, someone exactly like Maria. Maria thought about her children. She thought about how hard she worked and how tired she was. She thought about how invisible she felt, how small, how forgotten. And she thought about those 7 words, "When you feel small, remember who made you." Maria made her decision. She tucked the Bible into her cleaning cart, under the towels where nobody would see it. When her shift ended, she took it home. That night, Maria sat at her small kitchen table with her 3 children and showed them the Bible. "Where did you get this, Mama?" Rosa asked, running her fingers over the leather cover. "I found it at work," Maria said. "It was left behind. There was a note inside." She showed her children Elvis's note. Her son, Miguel, who was 16 now and starting to get cynical about the world, read it carefully. "Elvis Presley wrote this," Miguel said, sounding almost awed. "The Elvis Presley?" "Yes, and he left it for whoever found it. That's what the note says." Miguel looked at his mother. "Mama, do you feel small?" Maria's eyes filled with tears. "Sometimes, mijo. Sometimes I do." "You're not small," Miguel said firmly. "You're the strongest person I know. You came to a new country with nothing. You work every day to take care of us. You're teaching us to never give up. That's not small. That's huge." Maria hugged her son, crying now. "Thank you, mijo. I needed to hear that." But what happened over the next weeks would prove that Miguel was right. The daily reminder. Maria started reading that Bible every morning before work. She'd wake up at 5 a.m., make coffee, and sit at her kitchen table reading passages that gave her strength. She kept Elvis's note folded inside, and whenever she was having a particularly hard day, she'd read it again. When you feel small, remember who made you. At work, things didn't change. Guests still ignored her. Mrs. Patterson still demanded perfection. The work was still exhausting and endless. But Maria changed. She started to see her work differently. She wasn't just cleaning rooms. She was creating clean, comfortable spaces for tired travelers. She was making beds that people would sleep in after long days. She was restocking towels that people would use to feel fresh and renewed. Her work mattered. Even if nobody thanked her for it, even if nobody saw her do it, it mattered. Maria started praying for the people whose rooms she cleaned. She didn't know their names or their stories, but she prayed that whatever they were dealing with, whatever brought them to Las Vegas, that they would find rest and peace in the spaces she prepared for them. One day, she was cleaning a room when she found a note on the pillow. "To housekeeping, thank you for making this room so comfortable. Your work is appreciated. Room 22847. It was the first thank you note Maria had received in 4 years of working at the hotel. She cried right there in the hallway. That note went into her Bible, next to Elvis's note. 2 messages from strangers reminding her that she was seen, that her work mattered. Have you ever left a thank you note for hotel housekeeping or for anyone whose work is often invisible? These are the people who work hardest and receive the least recognition. Share in the comments if you've ever thanked someone whose job is to be invisible, or if someone thanked you when you felt unseen. The ripple effect. 6 months after finding Elvis's Bible, something shifted in Maria. She started leaving her own notes for people. When she cleaned a room that looked like it belonged to someone going through a hard time, crumpled tissues in the trash, room service for one, rumpled sheets that suggested restless sleep, Maria would leave a small note on clean notepaper. Hope today is better than yesterday. You are not alone. Housekeeping. She didn't sign her name. She just wanted people to know that someone saw them, someone cared. One day, Mrs. Patterson called Maria into her office. Maria's heart sank. She was sure she was in trouble for leaving notes. That was definitely not protocol. "Maria," Mrs. Patterson said, looking stern, "I've been getting reports about you." "I'm sorry, Mrs. Patterson. Let me finish. I've been getting reports that guests have been requesting you specifically to clean their rooms. They say you're the best housekeeper we have. They say you make them feel cared for." Maria stared at her supervisor, not believing what she was hearing. "I don't know what you're doing differently," Mrs. Patterson continued, "but whatever it is, keep doing it. You're getting a raise, effective immediately, and I'm promoting you to head housekeeper for the VIP floors." Maria walked out of that office in a daze. A raise, a promotion, because she'd started treating her invisible work as if it was important, as if it mattered, as if the people in those rooms mattered. All because Elvis Presley had left a Bible and a note telling her she wasn't small. But the real transformation was still to come. The woman who saw others, with her raise and promotion, Maria started making enough money to do more than just survive. She could save a little. She could help others. Maria started a small program at her church. She collected used Bibles, wrote encouraging notes in them, inspired by Elvis's note, and left them in places where people who felt invisible might find them. Laundromats, bus stops, hospital waiting rooms. She'd write messages like, "When you feel forgotten, remember you are loved. When you feel worthless, remember you were made with purpose. You matter more than you know." Every message echoed what Elvis had written. Every Bible was a continuation of the gift Elvis had given her. Over the years, Maria placed over 500 Bibles around Las Vegas. She never signed her name. She just left them with notes, hoping they'd find the people who needed them most. Some people from her church thought it was strange. "Why do you do this?" they asked. "You'll never know if it helps anyone." "I don't need to know," Maria said. "Someone left a Bible for me when I needed it most. That changed my life. Maybe one of these will change someone else's life." In 1985, 13 years after finding Elvis's Bible, Maria received a letter at her church. It was from a woman in Las Vegas who'd found one of Maria's Bibles at a bus stop. The letter said, "To whoever left the Bible at the Tropicana Avenue bus stop, I was planning to end my life that day. I had the pills in my purse. I was just waiting for the bus to take me somewhere isolated where nobody would find me. Then I saw the Bible on the bench. I picked it up and I read the note inside. When you feel forgotten, remember you are loved. I don't know who you are, but you saved my life that day." Those words reminded me that maybe I wasn't as alone as I felt. I called a suicide hotline instead of taking those pills. I got help. I'm in therapy now. I'm not okay yet, but I'm alive. Thank you for leaving that Bible. Thank you for caring about strangers. You'll never know how many lives you might have touched with those Bibles and those notes, but I wanted you to know you touched mine. Someone who's still here because of you. Maria read that letter and cried for an hour. She'd never imagined her Bibles were actually finding the people who needed them. She'd just been doing it on faith, trusting that if one Bible and one note had saved her from despair, maybe others could do the same for other people. But there was one more chapter to this story, the meeting that almost happened. In 1977, Elvis Presley died. Maria was 43 years old, working as head of housekeeping at the Las Vegas Hilton, raising her 3 children who were now young adults. When she heard the news about Elvis's death, Maria went home and held the Bible he'd left for her. She read his note one more time. "You matter more than you know." "Thank you," Maria whispered, as if Elvis could hear her. "Thank you for seeing me when I was invisible. Thank you for that message when I needed it most." Maria had never met Elvis personally. Not really. She'd cleaned his suite a few times, received a polite thank you on occasion, but they'd never had a real conversation. Yet Elvis had changed her life more than anyone except her own parents. Maria decided to write a letter to Elvis's estate, not expecting a response, just needing to say what she'd never gotten to say while he was alive. "Dear Mr. Presley, you don't know me. We never really met. I was just a housekeeper who cleaned your suite at the Las Vegas Hilton. But in August 1972, you left a Bible with a note inside. I found it, I kept it, and it changed my life. I was feeling invisible and worthless. Your note reminded me that I was made by God, seen by God, and worth more than I knew. Those words gave me strength to keep going. They inspired me to help others who feel invisible. For the past 5 years, I've been leaving Bibles with encouraging notes all around Las Vegas, hoping they find people who need them the way I needed yours. I recently learned that one of those Bibles saved someone from suicide. That means your Bible, your note, your kindness. It created a ripple that saved someone's life. You saved someone's life even after you were gone, through me, through your words. I'm writing to say, thank you. Thank you for seeing the invisible people. Thank you for leaving that Bible. Thank you for reminding me that I matter. I will never forget what you did for me, even though you never knew my name. With gratitude, Maria Santos, Las Vegas, Nevada. Maria mailed the letter to Graceland, not knowing if anyone would read it. 6 weeks later, she received a response. The letter from Graceland. The envelope had a Graceland return address. Maria's hands shook as she opened it. Inside was a letter from Priscilla Presley. Dear Mrs. Santos, thank you for your letter about the Bible Elvis left at the Las Vegas Hilton. I'm sorry it's taken some time to respond. We've been overwhelmed with letters and condolences since Elvis's passing. Your letter stood out because it showed something about Elvis that many people didn't see, his desire to help people in quiet, private ways. Elvis left things behind intentionally sometimes, gifts for people to find. He'd leave generous tips in envelopes. He'd forget scarves that women could keep. He'd leave notes of encouragement for staff. The Bible you found was probably one of those intentional gifts. Elvis bought dozens of Bibles over the years and gave them away to people he thought needed them. He'd write notes inside, messages he wished someone had told him when he was struggling. I'm glad you found that Bible. I'm glad it helped you, and I'm amazed and touched that you've continued Elvis's practice of leaving Bibles for others to find. That's exactly what Elvis would have wanted. He always said that if his success couldn't help other people, then what was the point of it? You helped him fulfill that purpose. By finding that Bible, by letting it change you, by passing that gift forward, you became part of Elvis's legacy. Thank you for writing. Thank you for sharing your story. And thank you for continuing to see the invisible people, just like Elvis did. With warm regards, Priscilla Presley. Enclosed with the letter was a photo, Elvis reading a Bible backstage, probably taken in the late 1960s. On the back, someone had written, "For Maria Santos, who continues the work." Maria framed that letter and that photo. They hung in her living room for the rest of her life, next to the original Bible and note from 1972. But Maria's work was far from finished. The foundation. In 1992, Maria retired from housekeeping. Her children were grown. Miguel was a high school teacher, Rosa was a nurse, and her youngest daughter Carmen was studying social work. Maria could have relaxed, enjoyed retirement. Instead, she founded the Invisible Workers Ministry, a nonprofit dedicated to recognizing and supporting people in service jobs who often feel unseen and undervalued. The ministry did 3 things: left encouraging notes and small gifts for hotel housekeepers, janitors, bus drivers, and other service workers around Las Vegas. Maria trained volunteers to leave notes that said things like, "Your work matters," and "Thank you for what you do." They'd leave gift cards, small plants, or encouraging books. Provided emergency financial assistance to service workers facing crisis. If a housekeeper's child needed medical care they couldn't afford, if a janitor's car broke down and they couldn't get to work, the ministry helped. Organized appreciation events where service workers could gather, be celebrated, and hear that their work mattered. Maria would always share her story at these events, the story of feeling invisible until a Bible and a note reminded her of her worth. Over 20 years, the Invisible Workers Ministry helped over 2,000 people. The ministry grew beyond Las Vegas with chapters in several cities, and every person who received help from the ministry also received a Bible with a note inside, a note inspired by the one Elvis had written in 1972. Maria always included this line: "This Bible was given to you because someone believed you matter. Now pass it forward. When you're able, help someone else who feels invisible." The ripples of one Bible left in one hotel room continued spreading. The documentary. In 2010, a documentary filmmaker discovered Maria's story while researching Elvis's charitable work. The resulting film, The Bible Elvis Left Behind, premiered at the Sundance Film Festival and later aired on PBS. The film showed Maria, now 76 years old, still active in her ministry, still leaving Bibles around Las Vegas, still writing notes to invisible people. In the documentary, Maria said, "People ask me why I kept that Bible instead of taking it to Lost and Found. They say maybe I stole something that belonged to Elvis's estate, but I don't think I stole anything. I think Elvis left that Bible exactly where he meant to leave it, where someone who needed it would find it. I needed it. I was broken and invisible and forgotten. That Bible and that note put me back together. They reminded me who I was. They gave me purpose, and now I spend my life trying to do for others what Elvis did for me. Remind them that they're not invisible, that they matter, that their work has meaning even if nobody thanks them for it. Elvis changed my life, and through me, he's changed hundreds of other lives. That's his real legacy. Not the music or the movies, though those matter too, but the quiet kindness, the Bibles left behind, the notes for strangers, the belief that every person matters, even the ones nobody sees. The documentary went viral. Millions of people watched it, and something beautiful happened. People around the world started leaving their own notes for service workers, thank you notes for housekeepers, appreciation cards for janitors, recognition for bus drivers and grocery store workers, and all the people who keep society running but rarely get acknowledged. The Invisible Workers Challenge became a social media movement. People would post photos of thank you notes they left for service workers, encouraging others to do the same. All because Elvis left a Bible in a hotel room in 1972. All because Maria Santos found it and let it change her. All because Maria spent the rest of her life passing that gift forward. After watching this story, will you leave a thank you note for someone whose work is invisible? Your hotel housekeeper? The janitor at your office? The person who collects your trash? Share in the comments if you're going to take the Invisible Workers Challenge, because sometimes 7 words can change everything. The legacy lives on. Maria Santos died in 2018 at the age of 84. Her funeral was attended by over 300 people, former housekeepers, janitors, bus drivers, and service workers whose lives she'd touched through her ministry. At her funeral, her son Miguel shared something Maria had told him shortly before she died. Your grandmother used to say that America was the land of opportunity. But when we got here, I didn't feel like I had opportunities. I felt invisible. I felt worthless. Then I found a Bible and a note that told me I mattered. And suddenly, I saw opportunities everywhere. Not opportunities to get rich or famous, opportunities to help, to serve, to make invisible people feel seen. That's what Elvis's Bible did for me. It didn't make my life easier. It made my life meaningful. And that's worth more than comfort. After Maria's death, her family donated the original Bible and note to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It's displayed there now, with a placard explaining the story. This Bible was left by Elvis Presley at the Las Vegas Hilton in August 1972, with a note for whoever would find it. It was found by Maria Santos, a housekeeper who felt invisible and forgotten. Elvis's words, "When you feel small, remember who made you," changed Maria's life. She spent the next 46 years helping other invisible workers remember their worth, founding a ministry that has helped over 2,000 people. This Bible represents Elvis's belief that everyone matters, regardless of their social status or recognition. Its influence continues today through the global Invisible Workers movement. Beside the Bible is a video screen playing clips from the 2010 documentary, showing Maria leaving notes for service workers, sharing her story at ministry events, and explaining what Elvis's gift meant to her. Visitors often cry when they see it, and many of them leave the museum and immediately look for a service worker to thank. Because Maria taught us what Elvis understood: the most important people are often the ones nobody sees. August 1972. A famous singer left a Bible in a hotel room with a note for whoever would find it. A housekeeper who felt invisible and worthless found it. 7 words, "When you feel small, remember who made you," gave her strength to keep going. And those 7 words created ripples that are still spreading today. Maria could have taken that Bible to Lost and Found. She could have followed protocol. Instead, she recognized a gift when she saw one, a message meant exactly for someone like her. And then she spent the rest of her life passing that gift forward. Think about the math. 1 Bible, 1 note, 1 housekeeper, 500 Bibles she left for others, 2,000 people her ministry helped, millions who saw the documentary and started thanking invisible workers, all from 7 words. When you feel small, remember who made you. That's the power of seeing people who feel unseen. That's the impact of 7 words of encouragement. That's what happens when you treat invisible people like they matter. Elvis left that Bible 50 years ago. He's been gone for almost half a century, but his kindness is still changing lives today because Maria Santos refused to let that gift end with her. She multiplied it. She passed it forward. She built a legacy of making invisible people feel seen. And you can do the same thing. You don't need money. You don't need fame. You just need to see the people everyone else overlooks. The housekeeper cleaning your hotel room, the janitor mopping your office floor, the person collecting your trash, stocking your shelves, cooking your food. See them, thank them, remind them they matter, leave a note, write 7 words of encouragement. Do what Elvis did, Create a gift that keeps giving long after you're gone. Because when you feel small, remember who made you. And remember that you were made to help others remember the same thing. Subscribe to Elvis Presley Legacy Stories to discover more moments that prove the quiet kindnesses matter most. Share this story with someone who works hard but feels invisible. Let them know they're seen. And take the Invisible Workers Challenge. Leave a thank you note for someone whose job is to be unseen. Tag us in the comments when you do, because 7 words changed Maria's life. Imagine what 7 words from you might do for someone else.